Welcome to Phil and Bob's Treehouse.
The Central Park trees covered in snow. Over the Hudson, the sunset glow. The smell of halal and jasmine rice. Creep on the corner, don't look so nice. Now he's pooping, why I don't know. Life's full of mysteries, now it's time for the show.
Hi, I'm Phil.
Hi, I'm Bob.
We live in New York City, home to the highlights, the lowlights, and everything in between. This is our take on the human carnival. Hello, Bob.
Hello, Phil, and our listeners.
Yes.
Welcome back.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, and I hope everyone enjoyed their holiday season.
Yes. It is cold here.
Bitterly cold.
But we're glad to be back. And we have some things to discuss, some stuff for the agenda.
All right, let's get right into it.
Okay. So this is something that I know you like to talk about, which is St. John's basketball.
I don't like to. I don't like college basketball, and certainly have no real allegiance to the Johnnies. Is that what they call themselves?
Yeah. Well, actually, I know no one probably wants to hear about it. But they're actually they're good this year, and it's literally the only team I watch. Mm-hmm. And
well, I know you like them because you went with your daddy when you were little.
That's true. Yeah, you asked me what the appeal is. Well, first of all, it's the only halfway decent college basketball here, college sports really, in the metro area.
No, but I know when we graduated from high school, and I imagine they were good when you were in high school.
Right. Well, they when I was 12 or 13 was when they were a 2 in the country.
Yeah.
And Georgetown was 1, and it was Mullen and Chris Mullen, and it was a big memory of mine. I went to that famous sweater game in the Garden. Do you know that game?
Well, I know that Lou Carnesecca, rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Wore these fugly sweaters.
Yeah, and he wore this stupid, ugly sweater. And John Thompson, the Georgetown coach, at that game I went to back then in the 87 or whatever, it must have been 82 or something.
I don't know.
Anyway, he as a joke, he wore the same sweater, you know? And then there was a big funny moment pregame.
Where they hugged?
Yeah, they hugged and they laughed, and then Georgetown fucking
It was kind of a beautiful time in college basketball.
Yes, and it was also it was a little bit of Northeast pride. I just hate Duke and
North Carolina,
and now it's all these SEC, Alabama and Texas, and these big giant schools.
Yep.
And it's a one piece of the sports world that we can have in New York. And
plus, you don't see college sports in New York.
No, there's no football team, and the school doesn't even have a football team.
Well, correction, I guess Columbia in the Ivy League.
Yeah.
But other than that,
no. I mean, and to my knowledge, NYU is not, blowing up the rankings. In anything. So this is what I like about the team, and I agree. I understand that, especially now when they pay all these players now.
That's ridiculous.
It's all even anyway, and it's all sleazy. But I like the idea that this little school in Queens is super good. So we went to the Garden on Saturday, and they beat Villanova.
For our listeners in Cincinnati, the Garden is Madison Square Garden.
Yes.
The center of the universe.
Yes, the Mecca.
The Mecca.
That's a little bit of just sort of, I would say, in this case, I'm proud of, in a weird way, of the Queen St. John's situation. The way they talk about Madison Square Garden is, I acknowledge, ridiculous. They're the world's most famous arena.
But it kind of is.
No, I guess the Mecca of basketball. It's no bigger or smaller than the Oklahoma, where Oklahoma City plays.
Yeah, but there is kind of when there's a big fight. We went to a fight at the Garden.
But they don't fights anymore.
Well, I don't know. That was a fun night when we went to see Anthony Joshua.
Oh, that's true.
That was a great fight.
No, I mean, they've had Frank Sinatra. They've had great events.
Louis Farrakhan.
But I think those days. The
Reverend Sun Young Moon.
Yeah,
he married 1,000 people at the same time.
True. Yeah,
there's nothing like the Garden.
No, well, I mean, I think that it's New York, and it again more just sort of blowing smoke up its own.
Yeah,
but nonetheless, it was kind of fun. It was a sort of a retro feel. And they won, which is good, and they're doing very well.
Yep. So you went to the game.
They went to the game, and it just had a good time. Very good game. On the way downstairs, down the escalator in the garden, there was a gentleman right behind me in the escalator, super drunk.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. You could tell.
Yeah, like super drunk and loud and screaming curses and stuff.
General age?
Like 25.
Skin color?
White.
Okay.
Mostly white at this game, if you can imagine.
A drunk, angry white dude.
No, I mean it's like the Queens Long Island crowd.
Yep.
And he would start screaming about he was like, "Oh, you like that Nova and your DEI coach." Like,
wait, so he's a DEI coach?
No, so he was like, so the Villanova coach happens to be black. Mm-hmm. And as far as I know, he's doing a fine job.
And was hired for his merits.
Apparently, I would think. And but this guy, he's a St. John's fan, but he was mocking the Villanova coach. He was like, "Hey, your DI coach, you don't have Jay Wright anymore." You know Jay Wright?
No.
He used to be white. And when Villanova won the national championships, I think twice.
Oh, it was with a white head coach.
It was with Jay Wright as the coach.
So this gentleman felt that Villanova was not doing as well because they had used a DEI program to hire a black coach.
Yeah.
Right?
I guess that's his
allegedly
his theory. And it just like it was fine, but like it kind of gave me a little bit of the creeps, and it's a feeling that. And then I thought about this again the other day. With there are these fires in LA, and I was listening to someone, all these people complaining. They're like, because the mayor of Los Angeles is black, and I heard some stupid like internet talk show I should stay away from.
Yeah,
and they're like, "Oh, you're DEI mayor," So like, and I was like, sometimes you go to these sporting events. It just got me thinking that at some of these sporting events,
yes.
I feel a minor tinge of undercurrent of possible racism.
100%.
I don't wonder if you've experienced that.
You look like a white guy. They don't know. They're not checking your circumcision and your last name, which is quite Jewish. But you look white. I mean, when I go to these games, when there's a large group of drunk white people. Yeah. Like in a frenzy, because of a sporting event, I keep my head on a swivel, and definitely there were times. Once I went to a Jets game, probably 20 years ago.
Those are the worst.
With our late friend Danny.
Oh yeah,
rest in peace.
Right.
And
did they mock his?
It was after 9/11. Yeah, it was after 9/11. And to our loyal listeners, he's Indian.
Yes.
And
oh my God.
But someone saw the color of his brown skin and just came up to him and yelled bombs over Baghdad.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, at the Jets game. I mean,
oh my God.
It is
no, it's not the most enlightened crowd. Plus it's like you're starting and then it's like a Sunday and they're all drunk.
Yep.
And then like it all comes out.
I know. Well, it's like, I mean, look, I imagine that the stadium crowd in any city is going to be like probably not the most even-tempered people.
Right.
And yet I'm not looking down on it because we go to these games and we enjoy it just as much. Sometimes it feels good to just let go and cheer and get caught up in it.
But it's just the kind of like the
but I don't
that little second that
I don't
element.
hurl racial slurs though as I get caught up in like the Giants game.
No, I mean, and I don't go to hockey games, but my brother had a ticket a couple years ago and I went, and I really definitely felt a lot of white male.
How does your brother like hockey? Because you mentioned this before.
I think his friend had season tickets or something.
But
I'm not sure.
But he doesn't fit the demographic of the Rangers fan.
It was that fan base struck me as like very like
Staten
corporate
Island.
America.
Wait, the
Rangers fan base.
Well, I guess maybe
it was a mix, but it was a lot of like guys in there like banking, like button down banking.
All right, I'm going to tell
uniforms.
it to you straight. I'm going to tell you straight. Those are the guys from like the trading desk.
No.
And it's not the prop traders on the risk arbitrage desk. It's the guys that trade like commercial paper. Okay. And it's like, Stevie, I got 50,000 Premier Parks, 8 3/4 to go.
Okay, I mean, I don't know the various like the stratification of the banking world.
Yeah,
but it's that region of that universe, I suppose, blended with some other stuff. The St. John's thing, to my sense, is it's a lot of like outer borough-y stuff, whatever that means. And
but for the Rangers, I think their core fan base is Staten Island.
yeah, that's possible, and that's clearly Trump world.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know. You'd be hard pressed to find maybe like we used to go to those New York Red Bull games.
Yeah.
Maybe at those, it's like who knows? But that's Jersey. You'd hard pressed to find a sort of semi-enlightened.
You know where you find enlightened crowds? The WNBA.
Oh, that's true. I think you find a lot of families there.
Yeah.
Like they take their people take their girls.
Yeah. And not to be sexist, but I just think it's just a little more civilized.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. But getting back to hockey, I mean, it is, I don't know if you noticed, there's a lot of white people who play hockey and not too many minorities.
No.
And the fan base is mostly white people.
Yes.
So if you're thinking about like places where there's going to be Trumpiness, think Rangers games. Yeah. I have to throw that up there.
Yes. No, I think the hockey crowd, and there's a lot of it's an aggressive, angry sport. Yeah. With a lot of checking and hitting.
Yeah.
And I think that just ramps it up.
If I were to stereotype, it'd be like, okay, Irish cops, Rangers games.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yankees games?
Yeah.
Italian cops? Yeah. Who are racist?
That's yeah.
Oh, not racist, but they'll hurl racial slurs. Yeah. But you know what? They're kept in check because the stadium's in the Bronx and there's a strong Latin, think, population at these games. A lot of Dominicans.
Yeah.
So you
think on the race racist this level the race
you would think that I would put the Rangers number one, but it's like the games are at the Garden, it's not outdoors, and it's not as many people as a football game.
Right.
So I really think at the end of the day, it's the Jets games that are the most racist.
Probably the worst. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, because the Jets fans are, I believe, because they're the former AFL team as opposed to the Giants, who are the Tiffany the organization allegedly in the NFL. I feel like the Giants fan base is a little more highbrow than the Jets.
That's possible.
And the Jets game is also where the guy said bombs over Baghdad to our crazy Indian friend.
What did
Danny.
he say?
He didn't say anything back. I actually stood up for him a little, and I was like, dude, he's Indian. And I don't think it registered with this clan.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's awful.
So, I put the Jets number one.
Yeah.
Rangers number two.
Yeah.
Yankees number three. Yeah. Because the Dominicans keep the otherwise the Trumpy outbursts in check.
Yeah.
Then the Giants.
Yeah. I think that the college thing's okay. It's also, there's a feeling it's like, it's college. It's like the stakes are slightly lower. Like, I don't know, So it didn't feel that bad. And this was literally the only guy
that was doing that?
That was doing that. So, and it was after the game and he was super drunk. So it feels okay at these things. It's just something I noticed. Okay.
Well, I'm glad you noticed it. And that you...
Oh, and here's the other thing, by the way. Yeah. This is something, if you're interested in... this occurred to me. Here's another local sporting event. I didn't realize there are people who... if you live in the metro area and you're into sports, you can go to just like cheap sporting events all over the boroughs every weekend. If you feel like... I went to for reasons, because I knew one of the people, a volleyball game at Brooklyn College last year.
Like a college football game.
A college volleyball game. Yeah. And talk about the flip side of this situation. It was like the entire team's Asian. The entire Brooklyn College volleyball team. Mm-hmm. And there's like 4 people in the gym and probably all related to the players. I mean, it's like family members. Yeah. No, but I heard someone on the phone.
It was a lot of Chinese people with orange bags. eating like fish out of a plastic carton.
Smelly food.
And like drinking soup out of those big plastic to-go containers.
Bumps that spike.
You didn't need to do the racist pigeon talk.
No, but I heard some guy while I was sitting in the gym there on the bleachers talking on the phone about how he was going to like some event, some like swim meet at LIU like the next day. And then it occurred to me that you could literally just go, and these are free things, and just if you felt like watching sports, college sports, you can go to Columbia.
Did you go by yourself to the volleyball?
No, I went with my son because we knew this. It was from the team from Massachusetts. We knew from this volleyball community that we're sort of a half-assed part of. But this was like last winter. But anyway, that you could spend your time going to free, presumably halfway decent quality sporting events of obscure sports.
Yeah.
Swim meets and stuff.
That's nice. I mean,
and not experience racism.
That's nice too. But the sports that are more fun to watch have a tinge of racism. So it's take the good with the bad.
Take the good with the bad. So in short, let's go Johnnies.
Yeah.
And they're on a roll. So hopefully that will continue, and we'll be back.
What I'd like to do is one of my absolute favorite songs of all time. I'd also like to send a greeting out to my brother Taj Mahal for sending this song this way. He's the one who introduced me to it, and I'm forever grateful and thankful and happy about it all. This is a song called Needed Time. Right now is the needed time. It's the needed time. Now is the needed time. Oh, right now is the needed time. Right now in the needed time. I'm down on my bended knees. I'm on my knees, praying, won't you come by here? Yes.
Bob,
Hi.
after that high of jubilant sporting news,
Yes.
it was New Year's and Christmas
Recently.
and with that is the cold and the dark, the early dark, which I find sometimes I find a little problematic with moods.
Me too.
And we spent about 3 or 4 days up in Cape Cod we'd go there after Christmas
I mean, that's
through New Year's.
like a bitter cold. It's probably the worst time to be up there.
I don't mind it. I kind of like it. I thought for a few days at this time of year, except it was also very rainy. It
Cold and
constantly
rainy.
rained. And
But I guess if you make your house cozy and you have your kids around.
yeah,
nice.
but it was just like, it's not great. The weather's so bad, and it's a part of the world where on the extreme edge of Cape Cod, which is like essentially it's a community, it's a summer community, summer resort thing. And not a lot of people live there.
Except the opioid addicts in the wintertime.
In the winter. Like I asked some guy up there over the summer, and I what do you do? How do you handle the rest of the year? Because I was thinking it must be odd to live in like a summer resort. My mom grew up in one of these kind of places in Atlantic City. Whereas if you...
Yeah, but at least that's like, it's not on like a peninsula in the middle of nowhere.
It's far away.
And
it's not so far away, and the weather's not so extreme. I mean, the Pilgrims landed and left because it was miserable. They couldn't farm anything. And so this guy, I was like, but I was from the perspective of like an actual year-round resident, what do you do? He said,
And he said fentanyl.
fentanyl. He said, you have to really watch your drinking, because it's like, I think he was kind of joking, but
I believe it. White people like to drink.
I mean, the cycle of your years, like people come and then they vanish, and at the end of the season.
I feel like we are mammals. Like I feel like the first cold snap and when it's really dark.
Yeah.
Like right around December 21, the winter solstice, the shortest day of the year.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I go into hibernation. There's like a day when I just I like to put the radiant floor heating on and just get on the couch under a blanket.
Yeah. No, it's a bummer. So anyway, so there were some people up there, so it was okay. We had like a little New Year's, thing. But you want to talk about New Year's as well?
Well, it sounds like you had a quiet evening.
I mean, it wasn't a raucous. They do fireworks over in Provincetown, and
The homosexual mecca.
the homosexual mecca. And we did go there one evening for a restaurant reopened like just for that week. And a lot of this, it had the sort of the clientele, it was just the wealthier gay men, gay
So
middle-aged.
you're just, I mean, but just by glancing, you're like, that's a rich gay guy.
Well, it was just like the tables in the restaurant were like
All dudes.
of 2s and 4s and all guys, all white men who looked kind of well off.
Did they all look suspiciously like older psychiatrists?
Why? Was that yours?
Yeah. Rest in peace.
They said he died.
He did.
Did he really?
He had a house in Wellfleet.
He officially died?
Yeah.
Oh, really? That's sad.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Did you get the notice? Or how do you know?
I talked
They
to his secretary.
They said, sorry, he's
Yeah,
no more. No,
he's
not-
dead.
he's
It
dead.
looked like he was.
What do they do in that situation? Does he have like someone fill in for him?
Yeah,
Or
like,
he-
but with like the insurance, the switch over, whatever. Like, shout out to my doctor friend, and
Yeah.
you know him too. I was like, look, my
Oh,
dude died. Like, I can't. I got to set up another appointment, get a referral. I was like, can you just like fill my meds for this month?
But what about? But that's just like he's
And
like,
just so our listeners know, it's just SSRI, nothing crazy,
nothing.
nothing crazy.
But a guy like that, like isn't that like a big crisis for people? I mean, I see a therapist.
Well, if you didn't know that this guy was dying, then,
Oh, okay.
then it's shame on you.
Okay.
Like, I had a fucking emergency plan. I was like, every time I'm like, how are you still alive?
But he was taking like patients and talking to them and listening.
I mean, I think that the only people were like longtime patients.
Yeah.
But he's a classic New York shrink. He has an office right by Carnegie Hall.
Yeah.
He was gay.
Yeah.
I think he was like one of these people who was like a 1% or like 1/10 of 1% investor in different musicals. He had all these like musical posters on. And his dog would interrupt our session. He had a little lap dog that'd run around.
Oh. Huh.
Yeah.
Well, there's a kind of job you could do well into your old age because
Yeah.
it just involves sitting in a chair.
Yep.
And just people come in.
And handing out the meds like candy.
Right. I used to go to my I went to this guy. We can go back to New Year's, but I haven't seen this therapist in quite a while. But I used to not want to see him, but he had hooked. I was hooked on certain medications.
Yep.
And I would call him and hate myself, calling him and hate him for hooking me on these things.
Yeah.
And it was a terrible mental cycle.
Yeah.
But I would have to call him to call in prescriptions for like, I did this for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And at some point he was like, I should see you by law at least like once a year or something.
Yeah.
Just because I can't. But anyway, he was the same kind of thing. Like he looked like Freud.
Yeah.
And he sat in that chair and he picked up his notebook.
Yeah.
Every time I said I had a dream, this is years ago.
That's so creepy.
I know, and then put it down.
Yeah.
And then I don't like that kind of therapy.
Yeah.
I do go to a therapist.
You
but-
should have looked at him and been like, my troubles are not your novel, okay?
But anyway, back to New Year's. So
Yeah.
go ahead.
All right. Well, no, I was just going to say that I think I had the saddest New Year's
No.
ever.
Well,
And I don't want to bum people out.
I think a lot of
but
people have quiet / sad
Mine
New
was
Year's.
the quietest, saddest one.
Okay. Well, what? How?
All right, I'm not trying to like get pity or whatever,
Yeah.
but as you know, as loyal listeners know,
Yeah.
my dad passed away
Yes.
several months ago.
Yes.
And so I was being nice.
Yes.
And after having Christmas up in Connecticut with
Yeah.
my current girlfriend of 13.2 years,
Yeah.
I feel like I was making a mistake. I didn't know our 13th anniversary was in November. I feel like I had added time to that over the last year.
Okay.
So I didn't want to sound like a liar.
Yeah.
But now we're at 13 years and
Okay.
like 3 months.
Oh well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we had Christmas, and
Yeah.
then she went back to the city, and so I went to see my mom
Yeah.
because I'm a good boy.
Yeah.
But then I started to get. It was like 2 days before New Year's, and I started to get sick.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh God. And then my current girlfriend of 13.2 years was kind of mad at me.
Oh no. For what?
Just like random stuff.
Yeah.
And it's funny because when you have a current girlfriend instead of a wife,
Yeah.
like they can be like, why don't you just stay with your mom?
Yeah.
Like it's not like we have a house
Right.
together and
Yeah.
you can't be like,
Right.
you can't like kick your husband
No.
out of the house.
Yeah.
So that it is a downside to having a current girlfriend instead of a wife is you don't always get to go back together if the other person's mad at you.
That's true.
I
Yeah.
put that down in a notebook. I was
Okay.
like, note to self.
Yeah. Okay.
Perhaps I've waited too long to make an honest woman out of her.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then I can have my freedom. So
Yes, that's true. So that's the
you got to
plus.
weigh the
Right.
pros and the cons.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, this is the last place I want to be. But then I was sick.
Yeah.
And with my mom.
Yeah.
And she's got a comfortable place to live.
That's good.
It's really nice. There's like a pool in the building,
Oh, good.
and it like a really nice gym.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and like So I was like, sick, but I was like trying to work out.
Yeah.
And like she was cooking me home cooked
Oh,
meals
that's
and
good.
stuff.
Yeah.
The New Year's Eve rolls around. I was going to do anything. I
Yeah.
was still sick. And my aunt calls and, they go to church.
Yeah.
And so my aunt was like telling her to come and mom was like, no. And then my aunt was like, have, your son drive you.
Yeah.
And somehow I got roped into this.
Yeah.
And like
Is New Year's Eve church
New Year's
service?
Eve, but it's not a midnight service. It's like 8 p.m. or
Okay,
some shit
yeah.
like that. So I drive my mom there,
Yeah.
and for the first sign of sadness is I was like, what are all these hobos doing here? Like I
no.
went on the side, and there was a sign that said AA meeting.
Oh, no. In
So
the
that-
church?
like in the basement, like
Oh,
where I like
yeah.
to go and hide, because I
Yeah.
wasn't going to go to the service.
Right.
Because the service, honestly, if you looked in, it's just all old people.
Oh, no.
It's
Wait,
so
yeah.
depressing.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's an AA meeting going on.
You
Where
could have gone to the AA meeting. That
God.
might have been more entertaining, actually.
Well, I don't want to intrude on their space. So I was like in the library there that's on the way to the wherever they were hiding
yeah.
for the AA meeting.
Yeah.
And that was a sad sight, man. AA on New Year's Eve.
Was it like hobos or like just people who were like looked like upstanding people but like alcoholics?
Well, in I was being a little flippant, but I it's overwhelmingly male
Yeah.
and just kind of
I guess,
people
yeah.
who look like they've had a rough life,
Yeah,
like kind of in
okay.
their 60s and so.
Yeah.
But you know what? Good on
But it's good. I
them.
mean, that's their community
Yeah.
in a way.
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So there's if you look at the bright side of that situation, I guess. The New Year's Eve is the part that makes it a bummer because people feel that New Year's Eve you should be out and like having a good time.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and also like, not only was my current girlfriend of 13.2 years mad at me, but
Yeah.
like the people that had invited us over for New Year's, like they
Right.
had to cancel because their son got sick.
Oh, no.
And so that on top
Yeah.
of her being a little mad at me, then I'm stuck out there with my mom on New Year's. So like drive, but it was nice because
Right.
everyone was like, oh, your son took you to service
that's
and
good.
you must be so happy,
Yeah.
And so then we drive home,
Yeah.
have a little late supper,
Right.
and then I'm in bed by
Yeah.
11:40, like 11:30.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's in bed. I don't even think she knows it's New Year's. And then the town in Westchester that she lives in, like they had like a little fireworks thing, which rudely startled me and made me realize that it was midnight.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I went to bed and then I woke up.
Yeah.
And so that's that.
Well, I don't think I think it's an overrated evening in general.
I know, but I had FOMO. I was like, oh,
I
man.
know. Well, yeah.
But until I got in bed, then I was like, oh, it feels good to just be lying, especially when you're sick.
Yeah.
So that was that. But I got through it.
Okay. Well, we're here. You made it through to the next year.
Yes. And also what I like is after December 21,
Right.
this winter solstice, the day gets longer.
The
a
days
little
are longer
bit
now,
longer.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's a drag. But what else do we say about the holiday season?
nothing.
A wrap up? Okay.
No, we don't. As I said, and maybe you should talk with your therapist.
I'll talk to my therapist about
Yeah,
that.
we don't need to.
We don't need to wrap it up.
Wrap up every segment.
I'm the man on the mountain. Come on up. I'm the flower in the valley with a face full of mud. Yes, I'm fumbling and I know my car don't start. Yes, I'm stumbling, and I know I play a bad guitar. Give me a little drink from your loving cup. Just one drink, need a barman's rub.
Let's continue, Phil.
This would be some little business talk.
We love business talk. New York City is the capital of commerce.
I had actually two fantastic, promising ideas
Let's hear them.
that may be worthwhile. And if you have a moment of your time and just a dollar, a few dollars
I'll
in
listen.
your pocket.
I'll listen.
The first would be a series of clinics
Okay.
that, you know what, like City MD,
Yeah, you walk in, urgent care. Yep.
right, but this would be specifically clinics that are not emergency clinics, but like walk-in,
So like a drop-in.
drop-in, talk therapy, sexual wellness, sexual clinics.
Okay, sexual wellness and talk therapy.
No, just not doctors. It's all just therapy. Like you talk to someone about sexual problems.
I guess it has, by law, it probably has to be like a PhD or like a psychiatrist,
right,
a psychologist. Yeah.
So it would be it's like the City MD, but sex therapy.
So not real meds, but just
Right.
sex therapy.
Yes, and like I just thought about that because I know that to be honest with you, like I see medical clinics fucking sprouting up all over the place. So clearly there's something there.
Yeah.
And the medical help is an issue, obviously.
Or access to it.
Yeah, and access to it. And
I know.
I don't
Try making an appointment. It's like 2 months to wait.
And so they're finding that these businesses they see the need and they've built clinics, like medical clinics. And why is there? I assume there's a similar need for like mental therapy, and specifically,
100%.
my sense is that there's a lot of people walking around New York with a lot of sex hangups.
Okay.
And who would welcome the opportunity to just like drop into a clinic and you make a little appointment online at SexMD and SexMD clinic, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And then
So is this like for a physical, like
No.
hey, or like doctor, I am impotent, or
You're like,
it's more like
I have weird. I feel like I have weird attractions to
animals.
I don't know. Just people. You don't think that if in the course of a day, just walking in New York City, you probably pass by 50 people who've got fucking weird sex things.
That's not the first thing that comes to my mind.
Well, they have issues. There's a city full of like neurotic. Not even neurotic, just like people with
No,
problems.
I imagine with 8 million people, there's definitely there's a lot of serial killers out there, and then there's people I imagine with sexual hangups. But it's not the first thing I think. Like when you see a crazy person, on the subway.
No, not a crazy.
I'm just thinking that guy's seeing dragons.
I'm talking it's just the average person on the subway going to and from work or whatever.
Well, have you read something recently that made you maybe focus on this issue?
No, but I've been out in the streets
Okay.
and imagined things.
Okay, all right,
I've imagined problems and a need.
okay,
And I have been. I read a book recently, a novel.
okay,
That was not good
okay.
by this woman Susan Minot or something.
Yeah.
I hate to pronounce it. Who's a
Well,
well-known.
that's why I said that, because I thought
right.
because you were telling me that it
that's
was a
true.
lot of sex in this book.
It's a lot of. There's like it's kind of a lot of. It's not kind of a lot of sex. It's about about an affair she's having with some guy who's a musician, and she lives in the sort of like Washington Square Park area, and she's constantly like desperate and waiting for this guy to text her, and he kind of doesn't because he just doesn't want to be involved, but he just wants sex. So it's not a good book.
Okay.
And I don't recommend it. And
Well, it sounds like there's sexual hangups
but
in
there's
the
a lot
with
of
the character.
Yeah, so that occurred to me. She lives in New York, and the sex is part of the book. So I was thinking,
Okay.
I've had that on my brain as like, and the whole book is about all this sparks like a mental breakdown
In
for
the
her.
lady?
In the lady, like the sort of sex she just has with this guy, and he doesn't want anything more. Apparently, it seems, and she
Is he
kinda
upfront about that though?
I guess to me it seems upfront, but the character doesn't seem to get it through her thick head.
No.
Anyway, so the point is, but she has a lot of issues with it. So I was like, you know what? And she's walking around New York, and so I just thought that maybe she's not alone. And there are a lot of people walking around New York, and maybe they're in relationships like that, or the sex is sort of there's some issues going on.
Yeah.
So they should just go sexmd.com and make an appointment.
I 100% agree. I think that mental health
Yes.
and sexual health are two things
Yes.
that have not been prioritized as much as physical health.
Right.
I think the mental health is now on an upswing, maybe
Okay.
too much, you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
But the sexual health, I think that's the next frontier.
Yeah, it might be.
Yeah.
Okay, that's business one. Business two.
Yeah.
I saw that. Did you see? Maybe you didn't. That new Bob Dylan movie.
Ugh.
I saw it.
What's it called again?
It's called. It's a good question.
It's like
called,
No Something.
Yeah.
No
it's not a good
Direction
title.
Home.
Something like that.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. But I was thinking that Bob Dylan, he made his name back in the 60s or whatever in Greenwich Village. Mm-hmm. And there used to be all these places where you could just like little hole in the wall.
Yeah.
You could just and go listen to music.
I know.
That doesn't seem to exist anymore.
It doesn't. It's so sad. I get a little nostalgic.
There was
when
a
I see
scene in
that.
the
Yeah.
movie for anyone. It's fine. It's pretty good, but the music is good, obviously. But like, there's a scene where that takes place in just a small place with a bunch of chairs and a bar,
Yeah.
and just a bunch of scenes like that. And I was thinking that you could just if that and folk music and blues people and bands. Little place with a little sawdust on the floor.
Yeah.
And if that were like around the corner from me,
Yeah.
I'd go all the time. I mean, I don't know if I'd go, how far you would travel, but nonetheless, I don't think that really seems to exist.
It doesn't exist anymore. I mean, even just a hole in the wall place. I think that, of all those stupid places we went in the 90s.
Yeah.
I feel like Milady's was like, when I think about that, like a place that's just like empty and it's a dive.
Yeah.
And it's a pool table.
But just like a live music, like a very small place that has like live music.
Yeah.
Does that exist really? That many of those? I mean,
No.
it exists. There's
some by me on the like a little east of me on the Lower East Side.
Yeah.
But like, few and far between.
Yeah. Anyway, that was my other idea.
Just to have a little place.
Just a
with
little
music.
place around the corner.
Yeah.
I
don't think
bar
that it's
and
not
music.
It's not viable anymore.
You don't
I
think people would
with
come?
No, I think it's the rent issue. And
Oh yeah.
Space.
And noise reduction noise problems.
Yeah.
People would maybe be a pain in the ass about it.
Also, maybe it should just be electronic dance music. Maybe the times have changed. Well, the times they are changing.
Yeah.
You got to get hip with the jive. The kids don't like the folk music anymore.
That's true. Well, whatever kind of music, it would just be a place to go and
They
listen
like
to stuff.
bum, 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 bum,
Yeah.
They like the beat drop.
Yeah. All right.
Well, that's a good idea, but I think you're fighting a losing battle.
What, you think the sex idea is better?
Sex
clinics?
ideas. Yeah. I mean, I think they're both good ideas. I
Yeah.
just think that, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm feeling a little defeatist. It's all just going to be one big corporate entity running everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wrap it up.
I fell in love you the first time I looked you. Them there eyes, you got a certain way you're flirting with them there eyes. You make me feel so happy, you make me feel so blue. I'm falling, no stalling, falling in a great big way for you. My heart's thumping, solid jumping, them there eyes. You better look out, babes, if you wise, oh wise.
Go for Phil.
Yeah. This one, I don't really know what to say.
Just speak from your heart.
It's just a little New York moment.
Okay.
I went to the Strand bookstore the other day.
Okay. Downtown.
Yes. And I saw a couple in there.
A male-female couple.
A male-female couple.
A cisgendered male-female
Cisgendered male couple. Not that that's unusual these days, but the fellow was a trim, attractive young man in his 20s, perhaps, with a yarmulke on.
Okay. Did he have the beard in the side?
No,
things?
just the yarmulke.
Just the army.
I don't see that much. And he was also with another lady his age.
Did she have a wig?
No, but kind of hot actually.
But she was
Oddly.
was she wearing so no wig? Did she have the long black skirt?
She had like a long outfit on.
Yep.
So I was like, I was curious. Was this like it's not a Hasidic situation, but she definitely was like covered,
Yeah.
but was like kind of good looking.
Someone told me that
And
the
Jewy.
Lubavitchers
Yeah.
are allowed to dress modern. I don't know, but that could just be.
I would say they were dressed fully covered and kind of modern, and like made up and stuff, and kind of Jewy, like.
Once again, I remind our listeners, Phil is a Jew.
like,
Continue.
like very curly like hair, like long curly hair. So and like just what's her name? That the lady from Dirty Dancing.
Jennifer Grey.
Yes, kind of looked like her, like pre nose job.
Yeah.
So and this guy was a good looking guy, and I literally have nothing to say about it other than I don't see a lot of sort of like yarmulkes and decent looking Jews.
Yeah,
walking
so
around.
it's like nice. You're like, hey, they're like,
Are they in like a bookstore date or something?
They're conservative Jews,
Yeah.
but yet they're down at the Strand,
Right.
where there are books that are secular there. So
That's
clearly
true.
their rabbi, maybe they were they're two liberals born into religious families, and they like left Crown Heights on the subway, and they held hands, and they ran, and they went to the Strand, and they're reading books that they're not allowed to read, and they're an attractive couple.
Yeah.
That's what makes New York beautiful.
Yeah, well, that's what I started creating this whole fictitious life story for myself
Yeah.
for how they ended up being there. But it was like a bookstore date,
Yeah.
or something.
That's cute.
And so I like that little moment. So that's my my
That's
2
nice.
cents.
Young love, New York City,
Jew style.
books, Jews.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Did you like just stare at them for a
I
while? or-
actually was. I heard them. I had my. I was listening to like a podcast or something. I had my earphones on, but then I turned it off, and I heard them talking. So I stood next to them to see if I could, because it doesn't look suspicious if you have your earphones in.
Yeah, that's a
and you can
great,
listen to someone
great
talking.
technique. Yeah,
But I couldn't really catch what they were talking about, so it didn't work out. But
all right.
they seem to be in good spirits, and that's it really.
Oh, good. Heartwarming.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
In this life, I've seen everything I can see, woman. I've seen lovers flying through the air, I've seen babies dancing in the midnight sun, and I've seen dreams that came from the heavenly skies above. I've seen women crying at their own gravesides, and I've seen pigs out sitting watching picture slides. But I've never seen nothing like you. Do you want my love? Woman, do you want my face? I need it.
Bring it home, Phil.
Just some New York City item.
Another one. This podcast is ostensibly about New York City.
That's true. No, just did you experienced this is policy, metro policy.
We get into the dirt, into the nitty gritty about New York City policy.
Yeah, sometimes
politics,
I actually
policy.
get in the YouTube rabbit hole of the New York City Council meetings.
Oh God.
Yeah, oftentimes not. It's kind of depressing, actually.
Depressing is the right word.
Yeah. I mean, the minutia of like city government.
Yep.
And budget hearings and stuff.
It makes you wonder how this city exists. Like, how is this city not falling apart?
I know. Sometimes, like when you're waiting, you're in a car, and the lights turn. You're like, who's in charge of that? Like,
Well,
the lights work.
yeah,
Usually, there's green.
You look at the
go.
average city worker and you're like, oh my God, our lives depend on this guy.
Yeah. I mean, okay. I mean, my interaction with the city workers can usually it's limited to like subway people, I guess. Cops. I don't know. You're walking by cops. Although I did have an encounter with the before we get to the policy, the fireman last week, I think, because I was stuck in the elevator.
Oh, the
in
fireman
my elevator.
rescued you?
Yes, I hit the call button. I was going down from in our building.
Yeah.
and suddenly a sudden just like a thud.
Yeah.
And the thing stopped. And
How long were you stuck for?
Like 45 minutes.
Did you cry?
No.
Okay. Were
I
you
started getting
scared?
a little claustrophobic, but I luckily here's a public service. You can thank me later.
Yeah.
Don't go anywhere without a cell phone.
Yeah.
Because I called the fucking fire department, because in the elevators that little call button
Yeah.
is supposed to link you to the fire department.
Yeah.
And but it didn't work. So I just called 911.
You should write a nasty note to the to this building super or something.
But they came, and the final word on this is that they rescued me, but it took a while because it was like in between floors.
Mm-hmm.
And long story short, they almost like wrecked our front door because they took a crowbar and started like wedging it in between the door and like and the actual wall.
Yeah.
Which is they're trained not to like ask questions. Like
Yeah.
they're like my wife was here and but she didn't hear them because she was somewhere else. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like they don't ask questions. They just like immediately start like tearing down shit.
Yeah.
You know? And so I had to like I took a hammer to like bang it back into place. It wasn't destroyed, but it was like that's what they're trained to do is just like wreck your shit.
Yeah.
But anyways,
They probably enjoy that. They're like,
I'm
we
sure
got to
they
come
do.
here and save this guy. Like,
This
let's
fucking
fucking fuck his door up.
But so I don't know what's going on. Did you experience congestion pricing?
I did. I drove into the city a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not like something flashes and they're like, or there's like a toll booth. I'd like
Right.
just cut in from the FDR onto Houston.
Yeah.
So, and there's a sign that says toll congestion pricing in effect. Like, and I think there are the cameras there that take pictures of your license.
So what does that
plate.
mean? That you got a bill or something?
Well, if you have Easy Pass, then it connects your license plate to Easy Pass.
Well, did you notice traffic changes at all in
It
volume?
was not a lot of traffic, but again, it was off hours.
Yeah.
It did seem like there was less traffic a little
Yeah.
bit, but I'm heading out of the city today after we conclude our recording.
Yes.
And after I have coffee with a
Yes.
friend of mine.
Yes.
But after that, I'm going to drive out of the city and see what's happening.
Well, I mean, the idea is also that they take that money, I thought, and try to improve the
Well, they're trying to
goddamn
save.
subway.
No, yeah, it's going all to the MTA to save the subway.
I mean, I know it's early; it just started, but they haven't been working on the subway recently because I was on it the other day. Not so good.
Not so good.
Yeah, just same nuts. So
Are
anyway,
we sounding old? I mean, but I feel like this city is just being held by like together by like duct tape and spit.
It's
and,
possible.
and it's about to burst.
yeah, well, it's possible.
And I need to profit on that.
Yeah, okay. Sex clinics.
No, I meant to profit on the decline with some sort of short security.
Good idea.
Credit default swap
Like they
on
did,
New York
like,
City.
like in the recession. when
Yeah.
And the only other thing I saw was traffic-wise is the police. I see in the paper. Mm-hmm. No police chasing anymore, or there's strict rules on, which I found odd. So did you see this?
I did. I skipped that. I saw the headline. I mean, I didn't really think like, oh, that's great because I don't think you see too many police chases on the streets of Manhattan.
I don't notice that either. Like you said in the French Connection.
Yeah.
Well known. But other than that, apparently they're going to be, they're not going to, the police are not going to be going on any high-speed chase unless you're like a felon or something. I thought the idea behind they chase people and then they chase them down and then they find out, oh, he's wanted for like a murder in like 12 counties.
Yeah.
But how are you supposed to, the reason they do it is because they killed someone apparently.
Yeah,
in the
well, I
Bronx or
guess they
something.
said that. Well, but I guess so if there was a major crime committed, then you're
Right.
allowed to chase them. But
Right.
if it's like, well, that's just basically saying like, hey, if you're really fast, then you can do shoplifting, right?
Yes.
You and I should just be a shoplifting ring. We do a smash and grab.
Yeah.
I hop on the back of the e-bike.
Yes.
And we take off with helmets on.
No, I mean that's what they do in Soho. I think I've seen those smash and grabs, and they park like a super fast, like a BMW with like tinted windows, and they just take off.
And then you can't chase them.
I think that
That's the new
that
rules.
doesn't count as a major crime.
I guess if it's not armed robbery, if you just go in there,
Just go in and grab a bunch of
maybe
iPhones?
not. Yeah, just grab some stuff. We can just start small and just, we'll be on the thing. I'll have a sign that says, per New York City regulation, you're not allowed to chase us. And, maybe the first we just go in, grab some chips at the bodega.
We'll start small. Get some
Yeah.
gum and chips. Let me tell you, man, that e-bike is, the way to go in terms of if you want to evade cops. Like sometimes I'll be on the e-bike, and I did this yesterday. Mm-hmm. It was cold, but I was out there for other reasons. But I saw a fire truck went super, like, unusually fast with sirens, so I decided to chase after it.
What are you, a fucking dog?
Well, no, sometimes I've chased, like, if I see cops, I want to see what's going on.
Yeah.
So, like, with their sirens, and they're going super fast through light. Mm-hmm. And the only other vehicle that can go through red lights and like that is an e-bike. So if I'm on my e-bike, I'll just speed after him. And I've done this like 5 times.
I'm surprised you're still alive.
And all 5 times, the cops have nowhere to go. They just want a parking spot. They just want to go. They go.
You should start filming this.
They go around and they park like I did the other day, maybe a couple weeks ago, and they park. They go super fast to get through traffic, and they just go park in front of the precinct, and they get out with their stuff.
It's so mad.
Most of the time, if you see cops speeding in New York, it's not to chase felons. It's because they don't sit in traffic.
Yep.
Yeah.
They need a parking spot, and then they need to take the car up to the Bronx to watch a Yankee game.
They want the Yankee game.
Yeah.
The DEI.
Yeah. And if Aaron Judge has a bad game, they have the N-word like right at but then they look over and they're like, there's a bunch of Dominicans, like Afro-Dominicans, and they're like, all right, I better keep it in check.
Yeah. Yes.
We don't hate white people, but just at the sporting events, try to
keep it under wraps.
Keep it under
just
wraps.
go for the team. Just root for your team.
Root for your team.
Yeah.
The Yankee could be white, black, or Asian.
Yeah.
But the best baseball player is Asian right now. I want everyone to know that.
That's true.
Shohei Ohtani.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Anything else?
Konnichiwa.
Yeah. Okay. See ya.
Well, that's the show, folks. Our theme song was performed by Echo Strada. He's an incredible Brooklyn-based artist creating psychedelic alternative music. Check him out on Spotify, Apple Music, and iTunes.
The Central Park trees covered in snow. Over the Hudson, the sunset glow. The smell of halal and jasmine rice. A creep on the corner, don't look so nice. Now he's pooping, why I don't know. Life's full of mysteries, now it's time for the show.
That was fucking awesome!
That was all right.
Yes!